Excuse me, I couldn't find my microphone. I now call the January 7th, 2025 Finance Committee meeting at 6:45. Chair would entertain a motion for the approval of claims.
Your Honor, I move to pay consideration of claims to be paid in the amount of $250,191.14. Manual checks in the amount of $16,544.52. Payroll and liabilities for 12/27/24 in the amount of $498,943.09, for a total of $765,678.75.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Chair would recognize Mia or Kyle Butterfield for any questions.
Mr. Chair, the only thing that I'd like to add is that under the checks already written, there is a check for $6,729.80 to Alexander Excavation, and that is for the Smith Road Storm Project. That retainage was actually due to them yesterday, so that check was issued yesterday.
Is that included in this amount?
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
Okay. Any,
No, Your Honor.
none from Mr. Butterfield? Any other questions?
No, Your Honor.
Move that we adjourn.
I now call the January 7th, 2025 regular meeting of the Riverton City Council to order at 7 p.m. I will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, after which Councilmember Larson has agreed to give us the invocation. If everyone could please rise and remove cover. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our eternal Heavenly Father, we are thankful for the opportunity to be here representing our citizens in the city of Riverton. We would ask, Father, that Thou would watch over and bless us, that we might welcome in the new councilmen that have pledged to serve this city. We would ask that Thou would watch over and bless our first responders, that they might be out of harm's way, that Thou might guard and care for our police officers. We are thankful for the recent moisture, thankful for the safety of our roads, and we say this, name Thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Administrative Services Director, Ms. Harris, if you could please conduct roll call.
Yes, Councilmember Dean Peranto,
Absent.
Councilmember Lindsay Cox,
Absent.
Councilmember Mike Bailey,
Here.
Councilmember Carla Borders,
Here?
Councilmember Kyle Larson,
Here.
and Councilmember Christy Salisbury,
Absent.
Mayor Tim Hancock.
I am here. I declare we have a quorum. First order of business tonight would be the oath of office for our newly elected council members. It's a little bit unique for us to have three, just in the last couple of years, three new council members. So in terms of starting the meeting and then swearing you in, a little bit of a unique way of doing things, but we did have a quorum, so we figured we could do it that way. But if we could please have Rebecca Pearson-Lewis, Karen E. Johnson, Eric P. Carr, if you could meet me at the podium, please. Could all please raise your right hand? Why don't you come over here, just so the mic can pick you up for people that are watching on television. Raise your right hand. After you say "I," if you could say your name. I'm not going to say all three of your names, or my name. So I
Eric Carr,
solemnly swear or affirm
solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wyoming,
and the Constitution of the State of Wyoming,
that I have not knowingly violated
that I have not knowingly violated
any law related to my election,
any law related to my election
nor caused it to be done by others,
or caused it to be done by others,
and that I will discharge the duties of my office
and I will discharge the duties of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's do that. All right, go ahead and take a minute and sign those. You'll probably want to do it slowly so they can take a picture of you.
Ladies, go ahead.
Right. And any family members that you'd like to come up and take a picture with our new council members, you're more than welcome to. Please, come on up. as a photographer? All right, and then if our newly sworn council members, Councilmember Johnson, Councilmember Pearson Lewis, Councilmember Carr, if you could please come up to your seats and we'll resume the meeting. So as a warning to our new council members, I used to have a chair here that was very squeaky. I sometimes leaned back and it was squeaking. One of those chairs is it. I switched it out surreptitiously, so one of you has it.
I guarantee it's mine.
It's, I think you're okay.
I have the worst luck.
Thank you very much for being here, family members of our new council members. Thank you very much to our council members for being willing to sacrifice your time, your energy, your talents for our community. It's very exciting to have you on board. Looking forward to what you can add to our community and to our council. So I just want to express my gratitude and my excitement to have you here. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so I was just telling Ms. Harris that it would make sense at this point to do roll call again, just so we can have in the minutes recorded. Our new council members are here after they've been sworn in. So if you could please conduct roll call again for us, Ms. Harris.
Yes, Your Honor. Councilmember Eric Carr,
Here.
Councilmember Rebecca Pearson Lewis,
Here.
Councilmember Mike Bailey.
Here.
Councilmember Carla Borders,
Here?
Councilmember Kyle Larson,
Here.
Councilmember Karen Johnson,
Here.
Mayor Tim Hancock.
I am here and declare we have a quorum. I would entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Borders, second by Councilman Bailey. Any other discussion, amendments, additions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to abstain because I was not at the meeting.
You're abstaining. We're just approving the agenda.
Oh, the agenda?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were on the minutes, sorry.
Nope, that's okay. You're all right. The consent agenda is when we'll get to that. And I agree, that would, when it comes to the minutes from our last meeting and the approval there, we'll probably just have that be a vote from those who are present. Thank you, Councilman Carr. Okay, introduction and oath of office. Police Chief Eric Hurtado.
Thank you, Mayor. Welcome, new council. Tonight, we're welcoming a new officer for the department. He brings to Riverton 6 years of experience. I now ask Michael Mayfield, please come forward. Michael comes to us from Colville, Washington, where he began his career 6 years ago. His hobbies include hunting, camping, and fishing. He's moved here with his fiancee, Veronica, and they're expecting their first child, a baby girl, later on this month. Michael looks forward to getting to work and serving the community he now calls home. I now ask Veronica to please step forward and pin Michael. Honor, Officer Mayfield is ready for his oath of office.
Okay, and we'll see if I can do this without cheating this time. There you go. And it's very clear that your fiance has more than enough excitement for the two of you. If you could raise your right hand, I'll say aye, and then if you could say your name and then repeat after me as follows, okay? I
I, Michael Mayfield,
solemnly swear or affirm
solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wyoming,
and the Constitution of the State of Wyoming,
that I have not knowingly violated any law
that I have not knowingly violated any law
related to my appointment,
related to my appointment,
nor caused it to be done by others.
nor caused it to be done by others.
I will discharge the duties of my office
I will discharge the duties of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Welcome aboard, officer.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, good deal. Now, traditionally, if you want, you can go ahead and shake everybody's hand. Just
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. Excited to have you. Welcome.
Congratulations.
Welcome, Officer Mayfield. Thank you for coming down here, and we have heard, I think I mentioned this from Lieutenant Morton, that he's been trying to get you to come down here for some time, and appreciate you finally giving in to him. He can clearly be persuasive, so thank you for being here, and I hope you don't take it as an insult. I was just merely commenting on the fact that your fiance is very smiley for someone who is expecting a baby. So, welcome aboard. You're welcome to stick around the rest of the meeting, or you can leave as you like. We, I don't think, stand too much on formality for that. Okay, council committee reports and council members roundtable. Let's start with you, Mr. Bailey. Does that sound okay?
Sure.
Since you've done this before?
I have not, since our last meeting, I have not had any official meetings other than we had Christmas and New Year's, and we had a very nice time and had family over and all that. So again, it's time that we don't have a lot of meetings and stuff, but it's a great time to be in Riverton, Wyoming. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Councilwoman Borders?
Your Honor, I have not had any committee meetings aside from the Finance Committee earlier tonight, and Kyle will give us the rundown on that later.
Sounds good. Councilmember Larson?
We haven't had any meetings other than the finance meeting previous to this one. But the roads were exceptionally clean after the snowstorm. And I appreciate the getting out. I was mentioning to my wife that our budget hadn't been exposed to snow in November or in December, and it finally came. But they were out and clean and beautiful. And this morning they were out getting the gutters on Main Street. And that really is really good. The other thing that I want to report is we passed a fireworks bill several years ago, and I continued to support the fireworks on the night of New Year's Eve. And I bought the biggest rockets I could find. They don't sell cherry bombs anymore, nor silver salutes, but I was able to get some 7-inch rockets that were resoundingly helpful in bringing in the new year.
I think I heard him from my house. Councilwoman Johnson.
Thank you. I haven't attended any meetings, but I have been attending previous meetings. I am humbled, I am excited, and I look forward to working together with the council, making some new positive changes, hopefully, and seeing how the city and the community can grow. I'm looking forward to a lot of community input and involvement, and I hope that that happens. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you to my family for your support, and thank you to everyone else for your support as well.
Thank you. Councilman Carr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you know, I have no committee meetings to report on. However, I would iterate Councilwoman Johnson's statement of being deeply appreciative to everyone that's here, all those that helped get me here, certainly city staff. And it's been a great fall. We've had a long time before we've had snow. Just a shout out to the Public Works Department. Thanks for getting going on it, and it was good. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Pearson-Lucas.
Thank you, Your Honor. I as well have no meetings, of course, but would like to say thank you as well. And am humbled and grateful to be here, and am excited for to see what the future holds. And I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Butterfield.
Your Honor, thank you. I do have a few items to run through. First and foremost, I would like to welcome our new members of the council and congratulate you on your election. We as staff look forward to working with you along with our other members of the council, so welcome, congratulations. I'd also like to make sure that I recognize Mr. Dave Paskett, who's here tonight. I referenced at a previous meeting that Mr. Paskett has agreed to come and provide interim services for the city as we're advertising for a replacement for the Community Development Director position. And I know Dave is happily retired, and he's getting really tired of my joke, but whenever he's ready to submit his full-time application, I'd happily consider it. And he's heard that joke a lot. But it's because it's so sincere. We're very fortunate that Mr. Paskett is filling in on an interim basis, and his years of experience with the city of Riverton have immediately helped us as we're working through this interim period, but still maintaining our priority to provide customer service. So you as newly elected members, if you haven't had a chance to get to know Dave, please take a moment and say hi to him tonight because he's working for you as well. And then our current council, I know you know Dave, just give him a high five and let him know how much we appreciate him, along with all the other staff members we have. I have a few other items I'd like to run through, and I have several, so I'll try and be quick, Your Honor. Pursuant to state statute, the elected body has to disclose any financial conflicts that it may have with depositories or banks that the city has investments in, and we have to publicly announce that those potential conflicts have also been addressed and filed with the city of Riverton. So each member of the city council, myself, and Ms. Mia Harris have filled out those conflict statements, and they are on file with the city of Riverton. That's pursuant to state statute. Each year, we have to ensure that those elected and those in their official capacity that handle money need to disclose which banking institutions they utilize personally that are also used by the city of Riverton. And I'm pursuant to statute making that public statement that we've done that process. We have a few meetings that are coming up. This upcoming Monday, there's a Fix Our Road Citizen Committee meeting, and that will be at 11 o'clock here in the bullpen at City Hall. We do invite the public to attend that meeting, and that's an opportunity for the public to work with the council's committee on priorities for infrastructure and road improvement projects. We also have a planning commission meeting scheduled for January 16th. That will be at 5:30 here in the council chambers. and we also encourage the public to attend that meeting as well. Tomorrow evening, there will be a public open house and meeting sponsored by the Public Works Department for a Riverview Road Improvement Project. That public meeting and open house will start tomorrow at 6 o'clock here at Council Chambers. And we hope to see many members of the public there in attendance. The application for grants for the Tourism Asset Development Program, or the TAD program, has closed. A total of 16 community entities submitted applications. The recently appointed ad hoc committee of this body will have an opportunity to review those and then work with you as the governing body on making recommendations. And the process for that is going to be established here in the near future. But I wanted to report that we had great response from the advertisement for that grant program. I also like to thank our Public Works Department for preparing a grant to the Fremont County School District 25 Rec Board. This is for drinking fountain improvements at City Park. Mr. Eggleston worked with his team to submit that, or will submit that grant. But pursuant to our policy, we seek your concurrence on any grants that we submit. This does not require a match from the city funds. So while this is not a budgeted improvement or a budgeted or planned grant application, we do want to make sure we have your concurrence that it's okay that we submit that grant application. And I'm seeing heads nodding, so without any objection, we'll proceed with that grant application.
Thank you. That wasn't meant to tell you you could be done with your report. If you have more going on, feel free.
I feel bad I have a lot to update, but that's because so many good things are happening in the city of Riverton, and I numbered them to make sure I didn't miss any of them.
What number are we at?
Number 8.
Okay, good.
I would like to disclose that we will have several members of the city council attending the WAM Winter Conference. That's going to be January 22nd through the 24th. We have 5 members of the council who are going to be able to attend part or all of that conference. There will be a training as part of that conference, which will meet state statute for public officer training, and we appreciate those members of the council who have signed up for that. But we do want to make sure we also disclose that we will have 5 members of our governing body at that conference. I also like to inform the public that we plan to have work sessions with the City Council on January 14th and January 28th. These work sessions will include tours of our public facilities. On the 14th, we plan to tour the City Hall and also Central Wyoming Regional Airport. And then on the 28th, we will visit our public works facilities that are off-site. We'll be visiting the water treatment plant, wastewater treatment plant, and also the public works facility with the fleet shop. Those are public meetings, and we'll publish the agenda for that and the schedule for that. And our partners at WRTA have agreed to help transport. So those work sessions, again, will be the 14th of January and the 28th of January. And the start time, if it's okay with the council, we're shooting for a start time of 6 o'clock in the evening, so a little bit earlier in the night. The legislative session is set to commence next week. We've had opportunity to work with our local legislators as we prepare for the upcoming session. And I want to inform you that city staff is very engaged in tracking the currently filed bills and then the bills that will be filed. I have the pleasure of sitting on the legislative committees for the Wyoming Airports Coalition and also the Wyoming Association of Municipalities. And we're very engaged in tracking legislation that will impact the city of Riverton and its residents. To that end, we want to thank the Chamber for hosting a forum with our local legislators last Friday. The mayor had planned to attend, but had a work conflict come up. I was able to attend on behalf of the city and also IDEA Inc. and work with our great representatives. And they're going to be busy this year. It's anticipated that there's probably going to be 700 bills filed that they'll work through. And so we want to say thank you for our local elected officials and for their service to the state. The last item, Your Honor, that I want to bring up, I hope I do so appropriately and with a little bit of tongue-in-cheek. There is a satire page on Facebook that's called The City of Riverton. And I would like to just publicly say, we really appreciate the sense of humor that these folks have, but also inform the public that that is not the City of Riverton's official page. And if there are any questions as it relates to city services or announcements from the city, please be sure to check the appropriate Facebook page. And if you're looking for a good laugh, you can check out the satire page as well. But please don't be confused as a member of the public that that satire page represents the City of Riverton. And with that, Your Honor, I don't have anything else to update.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I have been to the satire page. I don't know, is there something interesting on it lately that it led to that?
Just some comments about snow removal.
Oh, okay, well, good. Thanks for letting us know. Couple of things, I guess, to report on. Was able to attend the Fremont County Association of Governments meeting. One of the things that they are wanting to do is be able to have a task force that would basically discuss essential services for the county and just being able to come up with different ideas of ways that we can ensure those are met. I don't know if task force is even the right word for it. It's just, they're basically wanting to have some discussion about that and ensure that we're on the cutting edge, I guess, of what's going on and making sure that we can talk about things like ambulance service, of course, law enforcement, I think would probably be part of that, but it isn't, I think, the biggest focus. But I guess one of the questions that I had was just what the council would consider to be essential services and what we would want to discuss. And some of the discussions that we had spoken a little bit about ambulance, hospital, and air service would be possibly one we would include, as well as, of course, the transportation just in general. I don't think you could just say air service even by itself, but, and of course, law enforcement, I think, is one that's extremely important. But, in terms of being able to define and say, what would we be talking about with essential services, just wanted to get a feel from the council as what you would lump under that, I suppose. Any thoughts, anything to add, or what you would consider to be?
Your Honor,
Go ahead.
are you talking about things that the municipalities and the county could all work together on? Is that sort of what you're getting at?
Sure,
Or-
I think so. I think that's part of the idea.
Okay,
Because, for the most part, so ambulance, of course, is one that is collaborative. In some ways, air service is collaborative, I think. Other transportation with like WRTA, I think, is collaborative. Law enforcement tends to be more so up to the individual municipalities and to the county. But we do have a lot of collaboration in terms of for example, our MOU that allows for these multi-jurisdictional task force operations. So something to think about. We don't have to have all the answers right now, but I guess reach out to me if you have any thoughts, and I can kind of pass it along to FCAG and we can discuss.
Are they including any type of utility services in that?
It's a good point.
Power, water, sewer, those are essential services, but some are provided privately, some are provided municipality.
Right? I would say water is kind of important for life, maybe.
yeah.
I can see that being
Well,
something that
and
would,
it's expensive, and there's water treatment plants, and, that if we could all go together and do something collectively that would end up saving the taxpayer money, that would be a good thing.
it's worth a discussion at least.
Yeah.
So I could see that being worthwhile.
On ambulance service, the difficulty in ambulance service is service pay for service. And there are certain areas of the county that utilize that service higher and return less money back. So obviously, that was the first reason for sinking the previous ambulance service. And so we need a mechanism whereby you don't go begging it's part of the tax structure or some structure that FCAG comes up with. That might take legislative or district so that it's a taxing process.
Which everybody enjoys talking about taxes.
Well, not at this time of year.
I don't think there's much of a time of year that we get excited about. Anybody else, any thoughts?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, well, it just, that was something we had a little bit of discussion with in FCAG. I think would be worthwhile, if there's anything to add to that, that we would want to be able to say, hey, as we're talking about different essential services and ways that we can collaborate, I think that would be, feel free to let me know and I can take that to them. Other than that, I really appreciate Mr. Butterfield's update and him staying on task with legislative happenings, I guess. One of the benefits I would suppose that I would really encourage attendance at the Wyoming Association of Municipalities meetings is that you can stay on top of what's going on with the legislature. And the fact that we have that in Cheyenne and that we have it around the time of the, that the legislature is in session is not just by chance. That's part of the whole purpose of it, is to be able to have the municipalities be able to stand up with one voice and say, hey, these are some thoughts that we have in terms of ways we can ensure that our communities are being adequately represented and that we have legislation, funding that makes sense. So I would encourage attendance, would also, I guess, remind our new council members that part of the statutory requirement now is to have public officer training, whether that's something that you do through the Wyoming Association of Municipalities or you do it through a different vehicle. Would definitely encourage you to make sure Mr. Butterfield can help with some of that in terms of letting you know different options for ways that can be fulfilled. The state has been very dedicated to making sure that there's options that don't cost. So if you wanted to do something that was online for free, for example, that's another option as well. And I guess, getting that done as soon as possible because we have to report back to the state on that, who has actually done the public officer training and that sort of thing. So not trying to call you out in a public meeting, but I guess trying to let you know just in terms of what WHAM can offer and the part of why it exists and the benefits that it offers to our communities. Other than that, I'm in a pretty much the same boat between the holidays, didn't have a lot of meetings to attend, have been able to spend time with my family, and that's been enjoyable and appreciated. So hope everyone had an enjoyable holiday and that it's been something that you can enjoy.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off as you were speaking.
Oh, that's okay.
I
It
had
wasn't
one-
you, it was actually Mike.
Thank you, Mike. Your Honor, I did have one other item I apologize that I missed.
Sure.
Okay, before we move
Oh,
on.
great. We were just about to get to the communications from the floor, so.
Perfect. I just wanted to make sure I reported back. We've had a few members of the elected body express interest in reconsidering the optional 0.5% tax and the allocation. This was discussed at previous meetings, and I encourage that the city council seek advice from the city attorney, Rick Sollers, on the process to do that. It's often said that a new council cannot be bound by a previous council, and that's a true statement. But contract law and other legal components come into play when new councils consider reconsidering a certain action of an old council. With that said, Mr. Sollers and I have had an opportunity to discuss the matter, and if it's the desire of this governing body to bring back discussion on the optional 0.5% tax, specifically the discretionary, I should say, 70% portion of the optional 0.5% tax, it has that ability. The way that you would do that is through a motion to amend the allocation that was made by the previous governing body. And the funds available to you to consider would be those that are collected as a new governing body. So the funds that are received starting January of 2025 and moving forward, which would be what we anticipate through May of 2025. giving a rough estimate, and I would very much encourage Mia Harris to correct me if I'm wrong, but that would roughly be about $300,000 that you could consider. So I wanted to make sure I reported back because I do know that there are members of the new governing body that may want to reconsider that, and you have that opportunity. And at your direction, we can put that on a future agenda.
We can address that now. Is there anyone that would like to?
Your Honor, under Robert's rule, it doesn't have to be one of the three of us.
I don't think so, not when we have a new council. If we were wanting to reconsider that, I don't know, you tell me, Mr. Butterfield.
Your Honor, you're absolutely correct. Standard practice would be, it would have to be someone that voted on the affirmative side that would bring it back to reconsider an item, and there's a time component to that as well. In this instance, that does not apply because we're discussing more the issue of a previous council action and a new council action, or a new governing body versus an old governing body.
Your Honor, I would be interested in revisiting that. I think there are organizations that are deserving of consideration of those funds that would be very helpful to the community. The Mercy House being one of them. I know they came forward, and I think they were a little late getting their application in, if I'm not mistaken, if they even got one in, but they were interested in receiving some of those funds to go forward. And I'd be interested in revisiting that.
I would consider that a motion to reconsider that decision in terms of the funds being
Yes,
basically all funneled to the airport.
I think,
Not saying you have to disagree with that, but at least to be discussing
Yes.
it, is that correct?
yeah, I would like to just discuss it at least.
I'll second that if that's a motion.
And Your Honor, just for clarification, the motion has been made and seconded, and for clarification, is the motion just to bring it back as an agenda item for future discussion by the
Yes.
council?
Okay.
Your Honor, I wonder about the Edge Committee. They disbanded as of the end of December, correct?
Correct.
So I guess we would need to talk about that as well.
We could talk about their recommendations. I mean, all that would be fine.
Okay.
The applicants that they made recommendations on, I think, would be, and so I don't think accepting any further ones are what
Well,
we're looking
except
at.
for
but-
the Mercy House. It's the
Yeah.
only one that wasn't able to apply.
Okay.
So,
So just to be clear, the motion is basically to have this as an agenda item at our next meeting?
yes.
Okay, that's the motion, that's the second. Any other discussion?
Your Honor, again, I guess we need to decide how broad we're going to open that up. If we're going to look at existing Edge applications, or are we going to open it up to let Mercy House apply, or anybody else apply that hadn't been in the process before?
I think that's all up for discussion, yeah.
So I guess, we're not going to make a decision necessarily next agenda, but we would at least come up with a plan of how we're going to look at it. Is that correct?
I'd like to at least consider the Mercy House. I think precedent was set with the Riverton Medical District not going through the full process. And so I think it would be fair to allow them to do that as well.
Good point.
But your question is just how broad
My,
we want to
my
make it.
question is, if somebody else comes up and decides they would like some more money, do we have to listen to them too? The line might get long, I guess is where I'm going. And I'm not necessarily against having a discussion. I just think we need to make sure we're defined on what we want to receive,
Some parameters.
some parameters that we're gonna have.
Councilwoman Pearson Lewis?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. I'd just like to point out, I mean, I heard you say, and I just want to piggyback on that, that are we going to discuss any of this or all of this going to the airport due to the issues that we know that still exist with the funding that is needed to go there? I mean, is that an option? Would that take care of that problem that, with the long line that might exist?
Right.
If-
So, yeah, so what we did prior was gave the balance of the Edge funding that was going to come in to the airport
Right,
revenue guarantee fund.
right.
So this would be discussing taking some or all of that away from the airport fund and putting it to other means.
Oh,
which would, without going into a deep discussion, which would affect the airport long-term also.
Your Honor, perhaps these are items that you could cover at the next meeting, and as
Yeah.
staff, we can prepare some information for your packet to help you navigate some of these questions you're bringing up.
that would be excellent, thank you.
That'd be fine.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? All right, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 I vote aye. Any opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Motion passes.
Your Honor, thank you for letting me bring that up out of order.
No problem. We're just deciding to add it to an agenda, so I think that makes sense. All right, communication from the floor. This is what I'm sure everybody is looking forward to. Some meetings, there's nobody here. This meeting, we have a lot of people here, so I'm sure we have some people. Just a couple of things to talk about in terms of some ground rules for this. Anyone in the audience wishing to address the council regarding an item that's scheduled for a public hearing will be given an opportunity to speak during that public hearing. However, if you wish to address the council on another item, you could come up, you could tell us your name, you could tell us what you'd like to speak to us about. Generally speaking, we'd ask that comments be limited to 5 minutes for individuals, 10 minutes for, if you're a part of a group, that you would split it up as 10 minutes between all the persons who are a member of your group. I'd ask you to address all questions and comments to me as the chair of the meeting. This isn't because I have a big head. This is just parliamentary procedure in terms of ensuring that we have order during the meeting. I'd ask you to refrain from the use of individual names and keep your comments directed to the issue under consideration and try not to stray too off topic. We do allow, some meetings don't do this. I've found it's helpful. When there is an item that is up for discussion by the council, I have allowed folks to be able to comment on that. I'd ask you to keep to those same general guidelines if you do so, keeping in terms of the time limits and trying to stay on topic. I'd ask you also to avoid making comments of a personal nature that might reflect upon the character or conduct of another person. So if there's anyone in the audience who wishes to speak, please come up, tell us your name. You've raised your hand. Feel free to come up, sir.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
We can. Can you move the microphone so it's turned towards you a little bit better?
You betcha. Thank you.
Even if we can hear you, the meeting's being recorded.
I understand. Not here to oppose, compose, remain, refrain. Here to present. I'd like to make a presentation to our police department here in Riverton, Wyoming. This has been a banner year. My name is Andy Anderson, AKA Santa Claus. Can we tell? But anyway, we had a good year this year. We had a lot of toys. We had a lot of kids. We served a lot of kids, and we needed some help. And I went to the chief and asked if he could give us a hand in directing traffic and guiding traffic, and he was awesome. He put officers on the street and guided the fire truck down. You may have seen us riding the fire truck downtown. Anyway, and we had an officer at the store, so we could present and have a controlled environment. So I would like to present the chief, Eric. I'm sorry, I mentioned his name. Anyway, with a certificate of presentation to your services and your officers. And Emily was wonderful. All of them are great. Thank you very much. Here's your card. And with that being said, can we expect you next year? Absolutely. We had over 500 kids this year between the VFW and Sutherland's and all the other, anyway. One of the ones we didn't get to do this year and I was kind of disappointed in was the, what's that one, Dear Children's Development Center? They didn't call us. I guess they didn't have the funding or what, but there's no cost to that. But anyway, we didn't get a call to that one this year, but next year, hopefully we can get back in the saddle. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Cindy Olson-Roden. I am the Executive Director of the Riverton Chamber and Visitor Center. I like to give an update each meeting, let you know what's going on with the Chamber. So last week we had our legislative event, which was very successful. We were supposed to have 7 out of the 8 representatives, but 2 canceled at the very last minute. So we still had 5, but that was good. Trying to get all of them together is kind of a challenge, but it went over really well. We've got a lunch and learn this Friday for our members. Colin, my assistant, and I are going to put on a presentation where members go in to the website, to the member login, and there's a lot of information and benefits you can add in there that show up in the directory on the Chamber website, so we're excited to do that as well. Next week, the 16th, we are having our annual meeting. So we are voting, the members will be voting on 1 new member. We've got 3 nominees for the 1 position. So that should be exciting, and kind of an update on what's been going on in the last year, which it will be a lot. So it'll be a good meeting. Nothing too long, but should be some good information. We've got our after hours for January 23rd scheduled. That one is going to be at the Riverton Senior Center, Wyoming Community Bank, the Senior Center, Brown Company, Wind River Medical District. We've got one more, the Roundup, the beef Roundup, that's going to sponsor all that. So that should be a big one as well. I just want to thank you. Things are coming along really well. I'm getting into my position next week. I think it'll be 3 months. So just starting to find my groove. I'm more comfortable coming up here to talk now after about 6 times. So it's getting easier. So that's all I've got right now. Thanks.
Thank you, Cindy, and you could have fooled me. I didn't ever think you seemed uncomfortable coming up here and talking. So thank you for your reports.
Thanks.
Hi, my name is Janet Henshaw, and I'm here talking about the emergency situation that happened a couple of months ago with PAWS. PAWS was overwhelmed with dogs for about 3 months, and they needed to house those dogs in other locations so they did not get killed. And I took on 5 of those dogs at that time. Some of the things that I want to update you on is I've had a few meetings. It's been fantastic. There's people getting together and talking about how to make changes and do some improvements and things that can happen. There were a couple things that were kind of nerve-wracking to me. One was they said that they wanted to follow the PAWS guidelines rather than the 501c3 federal laws regarding the operation of a nonprofit. That's something that I think really needs to be taken to heart, because the reason that we have a 501c3 is to follow the guidelines. We will be getting the bylaws that we have asked for, which is absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to looking at those and seeing where we can see what's happening, see what's going on with it, because we've been asking for a couple months, and we're finally going to get those. I really want to mention something about the NFPA 150-19. NFPA 150-9 is fire and life safety for animal housing codes. Okay, it's a really important code. It's the guidelines to assist with fire situations and housing animals. And it's important because what it actually states is animal shelters, animal hospitals, and kennels. So we fall under those guidelines, and it says that this is also includes the accessory areas, that is incidental use areas. NFPA 150-2019 also covers the exterior space close to the structures where a confined animal could be harmed by heat, smoke, structural failure, or fire spread. Based on the category of animal facility, there are different guidelines. According to a report, Animal Welfare Situation, AWI, over 2 million barn animals have perished in fire since 2013. This is just barns. The AWI also notes that there were more likely deaths due to unreported fires. The report shows that the fire safeties for animal facilities is a major concern. The PAWS building right now does not have enough fire safety in it, and as the building is owned by the city, I would think that the city would want to be able to protect their own building and follow the codes that are out there by the National Fire Protection Act, so that we can save that building if there is an issue, in addition to that, saving the animals and the employees. It's very important to understand that those cages for those animals, they would not be able to get out. And so we need to be able to have people to get in, to be able to get at them out. That's very important to me. The other situation is that they were on the PAWS website itself. It states they're looking for money for a fundraiser for a new hot water heater. That has been paid for and installed, and that was December 2nd. I don't understand why it's still on the donation page. There's also other donations that they are looking for. They fixed and repaired the roof, which is fantastic. There's other things like the outside area where they're looking for concrete. I gave them 2 suggestions. One is something called Permazyme. It's $300 for 5 gallons. You mix that with the soil, and it makes it as hard as concrete. Instead of a $40,000 concrete job, you could probably do it for about $1,000. Okay? There's other methods that can be used in saving money and doing things for this piece of property. There also was a comment made about full-time, and full-time at the shelter was stated absolutely 5 to 10 hours. Part-time, they didn't give an estimate of the hours whatsoever. They did say that they have one gal that spends 6 hours a week there. So we need to figure out where the money is going. Okay, there's a problem with the money there. We talked with the treasurer. The treasurer did not understand why they were doing depreciation on a building that they did not own. It was $5,500. We also talked with her about other situations regarding the financial. There's a storage shed that is $6,000 a year. They've got property right there. They could buy a small shed and pay a whole lot less for that. This money is all coming from donations and the community, and I think the community needs to understand that some of these monies need to be taken a look at. One of them is a suggestion that was made today to a big group of people, and that was to change the cat litter from litter to pellets. It's about a 75% savings, and it takes a lot less time to clean, and it's what a lot of shelters are using today because it's only $6 a bag for 40 pounds. So that's another way that we can actually save money. We also know that we've got a member in the community who reached out to Pedigree by Purina, and they offered to donate 5,000 pounds of food. That was absolutely 100% rejected. That was free 5,000 pounds worth of food. It was rejected because they use Hill Science Diet. The problem with Hill Science Diet is that it's very expensive. When people are adopting a dog, oftentimes they're a senior, they're somebody who does not have a lot of finances, and so that is why they are adopting dogs and not getting purebreds. Well, if they've been fed the most expensive food, it's very difficult for them to keep up with that. That's a big concern to me because I really believe that dogs need to be fed a food that can be consistent. So the other thing that I was really concerned about was the fact that we went to the PAWS board meeting back October 19th, and we shared a lot of information about what we had seen, what we found when we were going to actually take on 5 of these dogs. We built kennels, we took on 5 dogs, we sheltered them, we fed them, we housed them, we cleaned. I spent over 200 hours of volunteer time myself, not inclusive of utility bill, absolutely the garbage bill for what I needed to put into the garbage can after having 5 dogs on a weekly basis. You know, all of these things, but I was told that I have not volunteered and that I have not done anything to support PAWS. I disagree with that statement. There are many grants available for shelters. At the first city council meeting that I came to, I handed a packet of paperwork that actually had 80 different grants that are available to shelters. All you have to do is fill out the forms. Everything is there, what the grants are for, how much money there is in the grants. And at the last meeting, everybody was asking, where do we go for grants? I had already done all that paperwork and given everyone that. The other problem that we had is with PAWS itself, it's really hard to get a hold of someone because the phone system is really not a great phone system. There was a representative at the PAWS board meeting with us who said that we can do a voice over phone system for about $20 a month, and it could have been done immediately. No one called and asked about that. Also, he volunteered to do a brand new website for free. And it would have been a completely interactive website. It would have been for medical. It would have been for everything. He has never been called or contacted. This gentleman makes a lot of money doing absolutely beautiful work with websites, and he offered to do it for free. And no one has taken him up, and that's been 2 months. So I wondered about being taken off the PAWS Facebook page. And the reason that I wondered about that is I had these dogs and I needed to be able to have them up for adoption. So I never heard from anyone from PAWS until we got a certified letter in the mail that we got Christmas Eve. And the letter stated, "Dear Ms. Janet Henshaw, this letter is to inform you that PAWS for Life staff, board, volunteers, and Fremont County Sheriff will be arriving at your residence on December 28th, 2024 at 2 p.m. At this time, we will be collecting the 3 dogs that you're fostering, Lily, Sunny, and Cher. We will also be collecting the items that we lent you for the purpose of fostering these dogs: 6 kennel gates, 4 igloos, and 6 food bowls. We want to thank you for your caring of these animals and thank you for your cooperation." This letter did not have a date on it. It was sent registered mail, and there was no phone call prior. You would think if they wanted to communicate with me, they would have made a phone call because I would answer. When I would call, they would reject my phone calls because they didn't know who was calling. Yet, I was receiving texts from PAWS, but they would not answer my phone calls. We were met with indignation, indifference, and none of our answers were absolutely not received. We were asked questions, and the answers did not come. Also, the reason I left early after the last meeting, everybody asked me and questioned me about that. I didn't want to get into a debate on council's time. I felt that would not be a good thing to do, and so I left because I was absolutely abiding by the rules and not wanting to take away your time. Some of the things that I'm having a very difficult time with, one of them is that Hill Science Diet is the chosen food for PAWS. If you go to the PAWS wish list on their site, it says Purina dog chow and puppy food, Purina cat and kitten food. So they're saying that they will only take Hill Science Diet, yet the website states this. And, you know, if they had given the opportunity to this gentleman to update the website 2 months ago, that all would have been changed. He would have had it done in just a couple of weeks and a brand new website. Now, the problem that I'm having with all of this is Purina is on the website. I have the opportunity through a gentleman here in town who called and has worked with Purina personally, and they have told him that they would give him 5,000 pounds of dog food. That 100% was rejected today. It was free food for PAWS. That's 5,000 pounds. Figure $1 a pound. That's $5,000 that was going to be donated, and that was 100% rejected. We were given the profit and loss balance sheets, and everybody said, how did we get those? We were given them by a whistleblower. That whistleblower did something that really bothered me because I received a text message on Sunday evening at 6:44. And this is what the message said. So after volunteering Saturday, if you continue to raise false issues with Shannon, they will consider abandoning the shelter and letting all the animals fend for themselves. no management of shelter unless someone else steps in. The city will not do it. Kyle has made it clear the city budget cannot afford to do it. So unless you can afford $200,000 to run the business, I suggest you lay low for a bit, or the animals will suffer. I do not need threats. I do not need people texting me on my personal phone at 6:44 on a Sunday evening. I think that was absolutely wrong. And he is a volunteer at PAWS. Excuse me. Some of this you don't need to hear because I've explained it before. We have asked for an audit. What we got, rather than an audit, was a long dissertation as to why we could not have the paperwork that we had asked for in question, because it was a private company. It is a 501c3, and if you look on the website for a 501c3, we absolutely can see all of the finances, where they're going and what's going on with that, and that needs to happen within 30 days. We were told we could not get that. So I was taken back to hear my name mentioned in the last city council meeting, as this raises serious concerns regarding the violation of guidelines meant to protect individuals in public forums. It is troubling to see our names associated with negative perceptions in the media, which only further harms our community page. Now, the other thing that really has bothered me is that there's a couple issues that happened. I filed absolutely correctly. You can see the documents here for the city of Riverton, where I filed and I asked. First time was, were there any abuse or neglect cases in the past 3 years? And I came back with an abuse and neglect case that happened in 2023. And everybody seems to think that I am blaming the new manager. I am not. I am blaming the PAWS board. The PAWS board should have stopped that immediately. All the animals, if you look at it, it was given to everyone in the city council paperwork. Dogs died, okay? These dogs, when you read it and understand what was going on, they were in these cages for 7 days. And the reason they were in the cages for 7 days is that they were stating that they did not have the money to take them for medical. Now, the appointment was made because they were not able to do an emergency appointment, so those dogs sat for 7 days. 7 dogs died. I think that's absolute abuse. The case is here, the police report, everything is here. Okay. So because that happened in 2023 with the new manager, they're stating that it's not important. It doesn't make a bit of difference whatsoever. I disagree with that because the board allowed it. And I think that is absolutely just dreadful. There also is a brand new neglect case from December of 2024. And this is for a baby, okay? It's a little tiny dog, and the police report is here, and the neglect case is here. So even though that happened in 2023, this just happened in 2024, why are we continuing to allow a board to do this kind of abuse? Have you ever been locked in a cage? Somebody gives you water, somebody gives you food, and they leave for 16 hours. And you're going to pee and you're going to poop, and you're going to lie in your poop, and you're going to lie in your pee, and your food is going to be covered with feces. Absolute neglect, and it's wrong. I've made suggestions, and I did not come fighting. I've made suggestions of 2 shifts, morning and evening, to take care of the animals, to feed, and to clean. And you know what they said? They sort of giggled when they said it. Maybe we should split up our people. Maybe they all shouldn't come at the same time. That shelter is only open from 12 to 5, Tuesday through Friday. It is open from 10 to 1 on Saturday. How do we know those animals are being taken care of on the weekends? They no longer have cameras. The manager prior to this manager did have cameras. The cameras went down and they didn't get repaired. I can tell you right now, when I took these dogs on, I went out and I bought 4 cameras that were pan, tilt, zoom, with lights, cost me $300. I have them and I can see them right now. I can look at my house and look at what's going on. It cost me $20 a month. Is it worth that so that we can take care of these animals and not let them get neglected, not have them lying in their feces and getting sick due to that? The other thing is we have an ISO room where we have the animals, and that room, I believe, needs to be taken care of a whole lot better. There's some very simple things that you can do. You put bleach in a pan, and as you walk in and walk out, you tap your feet into that bleach water so that you're not carrying parvo or any other disease outside. All I care about is these animals. And I have been talked about poorly in this city. My name is dirt in this city. I walk into places and people go, oh, that's Henshaw. That's that bitch. I don't need that, and I don't deserve that. All I've done is when there was an emergency situation, I came forward. I stepped up and said, I will build kennels. I did. I took on 5 dogs. Those dogs were taken away from me today. I had to return them to PAWS. Why? If you go down and you look at the snow right now in the play area for those dogs, there's not one footprint in it. Those dogs that were taken back today played 4 times a day in my play yard. They were out minimum of 4 hours a day with people, with toys, with food, with water, twice a day. And they slept in their crates at night, and guess what? They didn't cry and they didn't bark because they were loved. I am absolutely devastated that they took those 3 dogs back because I know they're not going to be taken care of the way I took care of them. I also spoke with somebody who told me through parole and probation that she went down to PAWS and she couldn't get community service because their hours were so minimal that she couldn't get in on her shifts to be able to go down and volunteer. There's a lot of volunteers, there's a lot of groups, there's a lot of organizations that would help. But I think we really need to take some good hard looks at what's going on. Financially right now, I think that there's a lot of money that has been lost. I have looked and looked. I have gone through the profit and loss sheets. I've gone through the newspaper, what was posted I think it was last week, about what they said financially. None of it matches. None. There's not one line item. And with speaking with the treasurer personally about it, she didn't even know about some of the expenses. Where is the money going that has been donated? Why do we have an issue where these dogs are not being taken care of properly? They need to go to the vet. They need to do these things. I also found out that Amy is absolutely fabulous. Do you know that she does free spay and neuters once a month for those dogs? She's amazing. Why is our bill over $40,000 right now when there is an IRA account that holds $58,000 in it? Why is that account holding that $58,000 when that $40,000 bill is not being paid? All of this is in the documentation that we got from them. I'm not just saying this. I can show you every single document. If you want the documents, be my guest. I'm not printing them like I did last time. I gave out almost 70 pages worth of documentation to everyone, and I don't believe that they were read. I don't believe that people went through that profit and loss sheet to figure it out, because I couldn't figure it out. I truly believe an audit needs to be done, and it needs to be done properly. But today, you know what I was told? I can't ask for an audit. Why? Why can I not ask for an audit when it is a 501(c)(3)? It is a nonprofit. It is absolutely, if you go on the website and you look, they're absolutely public documents. Why did I have to call Workforce to find out that we absolutely did have liability and workman's comp insurance when I asked and asked for that? Nobody would answer me. I had to call them personally. I don't think that we need to go to this length. I don't know why they're hiding. I don't know why they can't give me the documentation I'm asking for. I think it's a really simple question to ask these questions and the questions be answered and to receive the documentation. I'm not here to raise hell. What I'm here for is to give those animals the love and the respect that they deserve. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you listening. I'm sorry if I keep coming back, but I have a heart, and my heart is for the four-legged animals.
Thank you, Ms. Henshaw.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hi, my name is Adriana. I'm from the Riverton High School, and
And I'm Ayana Mejorado. We're with the Riverton High School Speech and Debate team, and we have a request to make of both City Council as well as the community of Riverton.
yes. So we are hosting a home tournament that we do every year, and we just wanted to ask people to volunteer themselves and judge our tournament, because these kids that perform at these tournaments are like future leaders, future you, like your kids, my coach, to point names. But yes, it's just super important to us that people are able to come and experience the things that we do and these kids' passions.
It's a great way to get volunteer hours because you're helping out the school, and the tournament is on January 24th and 25th. We will also be offering a training day for our judges the day before on the 2 days before, or the day before? 2 days before on the 22nd to help train judges on how to use the system of judging, which is just all online, super simple, takes maybe 5 minutes to teach, as well as all the different types of judging, probably 3 minutes per event, super easy, super accessible, and a way we want to help our community become more connected with the kids that are growing up to be in it. So that's our request of you guys, and thank you for your time.
Well, thank you, and I guess a couple of questions as follow-up. What events do you compete in for speech and debate?
I compete in a few different things. I do Student Congress, POI, which is Program Oral Interpretation, duo-ish, drama, and whenever I pick and choose to do random things.
Okay, Ms. Mejorado?
So I am the Wyoming State Congressional Champion as of last year. I'm also the runner-up in policy debate. I have a partner for that, but now I have a different partner, and hoping to make first place in this year. And those are the two events I do on the state level. On the national level, I've competed in World Schools Debate, which is a 5-team but 3-partner, I guess, event. Easiest way to simplify that.
And if we had folks from Riverton that went and judged, would they be judging you or would they be judging others?
They would not. So we are hosting the Riverton tournament. It is our biggest fundraiser in order to keep our team able to travel and compete at different tournaments. We do so by hosting all the other teams in the state that come to pay us to compete and get a chance to be at our school and win trophies through us.
Well, great. And do you have to have a degree in speech and debate to do this, or what are the qualifications?
There are actually
Graduated high school.
Oh, graduated high school. I was going to say no qualifications that any of you would have to listen to. Yep.
Graduated high school.
Yep.
Graduated high school, interested in helping out.
Yes.
And other than just showing up on the 24th and 25th, there's a training on the 22nd. Where would people go to be able to figure out, is there a website? Is there a person to reach out to?
We have a document, or a Google Forms judge sheet, and we can perhaps have Pearson send it to half of you, or majority of you, of those who are interested.
So if someone's interested in this that's watching on YouTube right now or is in the audience right now, who are they emailing or who are they reaching out to? Rebecca Pearson-Luce at?
That is a great
What do you guys want to do? Do you want to,
Can we get Reggie to like post it on our Facebook?
We can put it on Riverton Facebook, yes.
That works perfectly.
So you could put it on a Facebook page.
The high school Facebook page, yes.
That'd be good. Maybe we could even share it from the City of Riverton Facebook page. We have like, about what, 10 followers?
That'll be perfect.
The real one, not the parody.
Can we get them to?
Yeah, that was the first one I thought, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Just a real quick question and comment. I think the Wyoming Area Association of Municipalities is January 22nd through the 23rd, or 24th? 22nd through the 24th. Is it possible to judge just one day? Okay.
Yeah, we would love that.
The fun thing is that you can pick and choose time slots of when you're available. We're not asking for your full-time commitment. You can also choose whether or not you want to judge certain events. Like when it comes to some parents, they don't get a choice. But like if some people aren't totally interested in debate or like other type of events, they can pick and choose and times that they're available.
Well, yeah, and Your Honor, may I speak?
Yeah.
And what's wonderful is if you guys wanted to come, you could do a congressional debate because they're passing legislation, so you have experience in that, and you can help and watch it happen and, judge it. So it's kind of cool, yeah.
Well, thank you both for coming. And I guess would encourage folks to keep an eye on the Facebook page, Riverton Speech and Debate Team. And we'll make sure that you get notice out there for people.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
Good luck.
Do we say knock 'em dead or break a leg? Which is it with?
Hi, I'm Karen Sue Richens. I moved here about 5 years ago. I am not a resident of Riverton. I live outside of Riverton. I am a professional dog trainer and behavioralist. I'm here regarding the comments that were made about paws. I have been going into paws since I moved here. I have personally adopted 5 dogs, trained them for service dogs. And I even have one in South Carolina that came from paws, several in Lander, a couple here in Riverton. I do agree with her on the last speaker about paws. The board needs to be, because I have been told by the old manager and workers in the shelter that they would request to do something to the facility and they were denied by the board. I do believe that the new manager has turned the shelter around. It's 100% better. You can walk in there. It does not smell like a kennel. It is, I do believe that she's working very hard at doing what she can do, but she can only do what she can do with the board's approval. The thing about the vet care, we only have one vet in town that does emergency hours. None of the other vets will do emergency hours. I have my own dogs. I have drug dogs. I have search and rescue dogs, and they have to go in. And sometimes I have to take them back to Star Valley to my vet over there to get them treated. The parvo, a year ago, 2 years ago, I could walk in there and they'd be closed because they had parvo. This year they only had one case, or 4 dogs at one time that they had to close because of parvo. And I have one of those dogs. She's healthy, she's a puppy, almost an adult, almost a year old. She is going to be trained as a service dog for a veteran. So, but I do agree with her that the board does need to be looked at. The manager of Paul's right now is fantastic. She's doing a fantastic job. It's not easy when you have 50 dogs that you're trying to take care of and you have limited resources and you have limited staff. As a person that works with dogs, I'm a behavioralist too, works with dogs on a daily basis, is not as easy as you think, especially when you're over capacity. They're only supposed to have 20 dogs. They're usually up to 50. I even bring in some of the dogs to foster because I live on a ranch. I'll bring them and train them. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Richens. Well, thank you, everybody, for participating, and appreciate the feedback and the information. Administrative Services Director, if you could please read the consent agenda items by title only. And I do recognize, I think as Councilman Carr had noted, when it comes to the approval of the minutes, that's probably something we could just have voted on by the council members that were actually present during that. So I don't know, would we want to pull those from the consent agenda and vote on them separately, or how would we want to do that?
We can just abstain.
Your Honor, I believe you can just abstain from those items, similar to how Mr. Bailey has done for claims that would be paid to businesses that you had.
Sounds good. All right, well, let's just push forward then. Ms. Harris.
Your Honor, approval of the minutes, December 17th, 2024 regular council meeting, approval of the minutes, December 17th, 2024 executive session, approval of the minutes, January 7th, 2025 Finance Committee meeting, approval of the Finance Committee recommendations, January 7th, 2025, approval of the municipal court report for the month of December 2024.
Thank you. Items requiring further discussions. Councilman Larson.
Your Honor, Finance Committee met earlier today, 6:45. Consideration of claims in the amount of $250,191.14. Manual checks written in the amount of $16,544.52. Payroll and liabilities for December 27th, 2024, in the amount of $498,943.09 for a total of $765,678.78.
75 cents?
75, excuse me.
Chair would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Larson with the motion, Councilwoman Borders with the second. Any discussion? If you're wanting to abstain from any items, this would be the time you could do that.
Abstain.
I will be abstaining.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
I'll abstain.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Abstentions are noticed. Thank you. Noted. All right. Now we get to have our leadership ballots for the council president and vice president. Mr. Butterfield?
Thank you, Your Honor. Each year in January, the City Council has an opportunity to elect the positions of council president and vice presidents. In brief, the council president presides in the absence of the mayor, and the vice president presides in the absence of the mayor and the council president. This will be done via secret ballot, so I'll distribute the ballot first for council president. You'll have an opportunity to vote for that. Please just mark one of your peers to serve in that position. Chief and I will then collect the ballots, count them, and then announce if there's a clear winner or a tie. We'll then do the same process for the vice president. And typically, the council president sits to the right of the mayor, and the vice president sits to the left of the mayor. So if it's okay, I'll approach with the ballots.
Thank you, sir. Yes.
Good, because I just have digital stuff, so I do need a pen. Thank you. I appreciate it, thanks.
And that's the only pen that you'll be able to receive.
Got to make it last 4 years.
Just grab one. I'll just keep it right here.
I'm going to have to put some glasses in here, I can already tell, because I forgot them tonight.
We were betting on that, actually. I said that. I said. Yeah, there's another one in here. But
We can get a railing like we had in the House of Representatives. Should have some railing on council positions.
We could have multiple votes. We actually have had to do that
We
for a
had,
year.
yeah, we tied twice, or something, didn't we, one time, yeah.
We're going to be
How
fine.
many times do they vote in the House of Representatives for their speaker this?
Once.
Just once this time.
Yeah.
Well, this time, but I'm saying like, what
Oh,
was
yeah,
Oh, it was,
the
it
previous
was so
time,
bad. Yeah,
record setting.
yeah.
I don't think we've got the ceiling height, though, for additional rails.
Your Honor, with a majority of 5 votes, Councilmember Bailey has been elected as council president.
Okay,
Thank you. Yeah.
congratulations, Councilman Bailey. President, Council President.
You need to be showing up for work, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you.
I feel like it's really official with law enforcement picking up.
Yeah. We'll say, I've only had one time that I've had to have you run a meeting. And then there was once that was, I'm trying to, was it a goal-setting meeting or something? You kind of started it. I got there
Yeah.
about 5 minutes late.
Your Honor, with the slight majority of 7 votes, Councilman Borders has been elected as vice president.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Councilwoman Borders. Okay. Approval of the council meeting calendar for 2025. Ms. Harris?
Thank you, Your Honor. Normally, in the first meeting of every year, we go through several routine actions. One of them is adopting the 2025 meeting calendar. According to the Riverton Municipal Code, the regular meeting of the City Council shall be held on the first and the third Tuesdays of each month, commencing at 7 p.m. in the council chambers or at any other location within the city that may be necessary and as designated. When such meeting falls on a legal holiday, the meeting shall be held on the following day, the following business day. Included in your packet tonight is the proposed calendar for the 2025 calendar year. The council does have the option to amend the calendar before adopting it via minute action. And I should note that there's no regular meeting dates that are in conflict with legal holidays. And with that, staff would propose that the council adopt the 2025 meeting calendar.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion to adopt the 2025 council meeting calendar.
So moved.
Second?
I guess I would note this is the one that's in our packet.
That's right.
Motion by Councilman Bailey, second by Councilwoman Johnson. Any discussion or amendments? Mr. Nichols is in the audience. He can tell you that when we went through the FCAG calendar, I had a couple of gripes. They weren't that big a deal. They were just days that we had to kind of change things around for WHAM and that kind of thing, but. All right. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. I vote aye. City Council Committee appointments. Mr. Butterfield again.
Thank you, Your Honor, and I'll probably defer to you so you can make the announcement of who you've assigned, but each year, the mayor appoints members of the city council to serve as liaisons to boards and committees that are in our community. Council members are welcome to attend any of these meetings, but it should be noted that if 4 or more members are in attendance at one meeting, there is a majority or a quorum of the council, and we should be cautious of that. And with that, Your Honor, I'll let you announce who you've appointed.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We'll start from Councilwoman Pearson Lewis. The recommendation would be for her to serve on the Finance Committee, Fremont County School District 25 Recreation Board. Councilwoman Johnson on the Finance Committee, Fremont County School District 25 Recreation Board. This doesn't appear there, but also as a part of the committee that we have talking about TAD as well. Councilman Larson, Fremont County Solid Waste Disposal District and the Downtowners Liaison. Councilman Carr, Finance Committee, Wind River Visitors Council, Planning Commission Liaison. Councilwoman Borders, Pause Board, Tribal Liaison, Senior Center Endowment Board. Councilman Bailey, Airport Board, Fix Our Roads Citizens Committee, Riverton Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Center, and I would be serving as our representative of the Fremont County Association of Governments and as our liaison between the County Commission and the City of Riverton City Council. I'd entertain a motion to approve the committee assignments that I have proposed.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Larson with the motion. We'll say Councilwoman Borders with the second.
Good.
Is it time?
You win this time.
Okay.
Any discussion, amendments? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Community Committee and Board appointments, City Administrator's report.
Thank you, Your Honor. The City of Riverton currently has 7 committees or boards that we have opportunity to receive service from our community members. That includes the Airport Board, the Construction Board of Appeals, Fremont Air Service Team, the Fix Our Roads Citizen Committee, Planning Commission, the Rendezvous Balloon Committee, and the Tree Board. Staff advertised vacancies or solicited interest from members of the community to serve on these community boards or community committees. And from the response that we received from that advertisement, in your packet and in red are those members who are being proposed by the mayor to be appointed or reappointed to the Construction Board of Appeals, the Fix Our Road Citizen Committee, the Planning Commission, the Rendezvous Committee, and the Tree Board. Your Honor, I won't list those names individually unless you'd like to have that done at this time, but as it stands, those appointments are listed in your packet.
Thank you, Mr. Butterfield. I would note that after the packet was prepared, there were 2 individuals that expressed interest in these committees. One of them was Mr. Cody Beers, had expressed interest in the Fix Our Road Citizens Committee. As I was looking at the composition of the committee, we actually, per the bylaws, are to have 9 members of that committee. We don't have anything in the bylaws that would allow for alternates. His interest had been expressed later. We had already expressed that these individuals would be the ones that would be proposed. I did thank him for his letter and encouraged him to send it in at a future date when we have any openings. The other person that had expressed interest was Tara Carr, who may be known to some of you as Eric Carr's wife. And she had expressed interest in serving on the Planning Commission. I would propose that she be appointed to the vacant position as an alternate with the term ending in December of 2028. So is there a motion for the approval of these committees as has been proposed in the packet with the addition of Tara Carr as an alternate to the Planning Commission?
Your Honor, I'll move.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Borders, second by Councilman Bailey. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 I vote aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Resolution 1516, designation of official depositories. Ms. Harris.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, you can take a minute if you need to write things down. Motion was Councilwoman Borders, second was Councilman Bailey. The motion was approved unanimously.
And Your Honor, just as a point of order, our agenda item next would be the appointment of the judge, alternate judge and city attorney.
I skip things sometimes just to keep people on their toes.
I
That's
was
all right.
trying to figure out where I was.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. Let's move on to the municipal court judge, alternate judge, and city attorney appointments. That would be Mr. Bailey. Mr. Bailey.
No thank you.
Mr. Butterfield, could you tell us about this?
Your Honor,
And use small words because clearly I'm in an episode right now.
No worries, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll be brief. By our municipal code, you as a governing body need to appoint each year a judge and a city attorney. And it's proposed by the mayor that we reappoint Judge Teresa McKee and have Aaron Vincent serve as an alternate judge in Judge McKee's absent, and then also to reappoint Rick Sollers as the city attorney. And that has been the proposal from the mayor.
Thank you. And I'd entertain a motion to approve the appointment and respective salaries for the municipal judge, alternate judge, and city attorney.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Larson, second by Councilwoman Borders. Discussion.
Your Honor,
Yes, ma'am.
at some point, and I believe that we do get like a yearly report from everyone, would it be unreasonable to ask both the judge and the city attorney to come in and maybe give us their input on some of the repeat offenders problem that we have?
I think that could be good. I will say, one of the things that we were able to have happen, despite perhaps the better judgment of our municipal court clerk, is as part of the tours and being able to ensure that the city council is able to become familiar with the operations of the city that we plan for the upcoming weeks, would be to hear directly from the municipal court clerk. I think that would be helpful, though, to add to that, perhaps a report from the city attorney, who also operates as our city prosecutor, so wearing the city prosecutor hat, I would say, and from the judge, perhaps. Judge gets a little bit different. It starts to look a little bit more political for her to come in to report to the city council, but it's an idea that we can discuss. I would encourage our city council members, and I have in the past as well, to attend court. We have it typically on Wednesdays at noon, just right here in the courtroom. I think it would be a good opportunity to kind of see how the judge handles things, but it's worth discussion. I like the idea of that, Councilwoman.
Yeah, I think it would just be helpful. I know there was some discussion previously about maybe ordering community service and things of that nature, just having her input as to if that can really be done or if she would be willing to do that in some cases.
Definitely worth talking about.
Perfect.
Thank you. Good thought. And you're right. I mean, typically with the other positions, we tend to hear from the other departments. We have, of course, our quarterly fiscal health report, which is required. We've heard from our chief recently, well, before our last budget approval, about what was going on with the police department, public works, that kind of thing. I think it'd be good to be able to have those reports. So,
Thank you.
thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 I vote aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Now, Resolution 1516. Are we okay now?
We are okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Designation of official depositories. Ms. Harris.
Yes, Wyoming state statute requires municipalities to designate official depositories through the approval of the governing body on an annual basis. The city staff reached out to our local financial institutions soliciting their interest in applying as an official public depository, official institution for deposit of public funds. We began that process in November. I received 4 applications for institutions that have filed with the city of Riverton. Their names: Central Bank and Trust, U.S. Bank, Wells Fargo Bank, and Wyoming Community Bank, all provided applications, resolutions, and then statements of financial condition to me. So they are therefore eligible to serve in an official capacity for the city. While U.S. Bank does not have a local branch, the city does invest funds through Wyoming Class. It's a government investment pool. And the program's investment advisor is Public Trust Advisors, with U.S. Bank serving as their custodian. So I did include them on the list for approval. With that, the staff would just recommend that the City Council adopt Resolution Number 1516, designating official depositories for the city.
So moved.
Second.
You do have to have the resolution read by title only, however. let's start with that, and then we can note your motion in second. Thank you. If you could please read the resolution by title only.
Excellent, thank you. Resolution number 1516, a resolution designating official depositories for the city of Riverton, requiring joint signatures on all orders for payment of money from city accounts, and designating certain individuals as signatories and alternate signatories on city accounts at said banks.
All right. Now, do we have a motion to
So moved.
adopt Resolution 1516?
I'm just
Motion.
following your lead.
It's all good. Motion by Councilwoman Johnson, second by Councilman Bailey. Any discussion or amendments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Resolution number 1517, designation of legal newspaper. Administrative Services Director's report, please.
Again, according to state statutes, the city is required to designate a newspaper as the official means of publishing documents such as public meetings, notices, minutes, salaries, etc. The Riverton Ranger is the only periodical in the community that has the basic standards required by statute to receive such a designation. Therefore, the city staff recommends approval of resolution number 1517, designating the Riverton Ranger as the city's primary means of publication.
If you could read Resolution 1517 by title only.
Resolution number 1517, a resolution designating the official legal newspaper for the city of Riverton for calendar year 2025.
Thank you. I'd entertain a motion to adopt Resolution 1517.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Bailey,
Your Honor, I think we have.
second by Councilman Carr. Yes, sir. You could please tell us your name?
My name is Ron Warpness, citizen, ex-mayor. I've been here before, and most people my age are sitting in the recreation room watching westerns and whatnot, but I enjoy coming out for the repartee that's going on in council meetings and whatnot. It's a monkey I've got on my back, I guess, but I just enjoy hearing how people think about different issues and whatnot. And it's obvious when you come to the meeting and you hear speaking from the floor, you never know what's going to be brought up, whether it's going to be pause or police or recreation or housing or speech. It's going to be something new with a challenge. And I'm no different, and I'm sure you know why I'm here. It seems that the discussion is regarding freedom of speech versus paper of record. And I had an issue with our paper of record in the past, and that has not been resolved to this point in time. And when Mr. Butterfield suggested that there's a page for satire, I thought maybe there was one for a joke, and so I could come and participate in that area. But I feel like I'm the canary in the coal mine, and why is it so important to me? I graduated from high school here in 1960. I've lived here my whole life. I'm a Vietnam veteran. I spent 4 years on the city council. I spent 4 years as mayor of the community, and it's important to me. And I understand what Ms. Harris has just read about the paper of record. I have come to the conclusion that paper is an anachronism. There's a lot of us out there, and time will take care of that. But at this time, it seems to me like it would make more sense to have news media of record that would cover things electronically where you can punch the button or get it all. And if I hadn't run into the issue with the Ranger in the past, where I wrote a personal opinion letter and they refused to print it, which is wrong. Okay? They have every right to do that. It's their paper. They can do what they want to do. But the city doesn't have an obligation to give them the honor of being the paper of record. Now, I'm only a citizen, as you are, only citizens. But when you're up against that, you have no power at all. And in a free society, to not be able to express your freedom of speech freely is wrong, and it needs to be corrected, in my opinion. And I have come to the conclusion that the ranger is just as bullheaded as I am, and I ain't giving up, so here we are. Thank you for your time. I have a feeling which direction this will go, and I understand it completely, but it's not right, so.
Thank you, Mr. Warpness. Mr. Butterfield, could you tell us just a little bit about the statutory requirements for publication and, if you don't mind?
No, I don't mind at all. I have that up right now. Wyoming Statute 151110 states that a governing body of any city or town shall designate a legal newspaper and publish once therein the minutes of all regular and special meetings of the governing body and the titles of all ordinances passed. If a newspaper is not published in the city or town, the proceedings or ordinances shall be posted for at least 10 days in the city or town clerk's office and in other such places as the governing body determines. So pursuant to the requirements of state statute, we are somewhat restricted in exploring any alternatives because, as Ms. Harris explained, there is a legal newspaper of general circulation in the city of Riverton, and therefore by statute it needs to be used. The only time the city could look at going a different route is if a newspaper is not published in town. I know this is a topic that comes up every few years or every so often with the legislature, but right now the law sits as it sits.
Any other discussion from the council?
Your Honor.
Mr. Chairman? Oh,
Yes, sir.
go ahead.
And that means we'd have to go to the legislature and get them to change the law to allow that to be a website, a Facebook page, a social media site, et cetera, as opposed to just a newspaper. So until we do that, we don't have any choice.
Is that correct?
Your Honor, Councilman Bailey is correct in that assessment. Until the law is changed, at a minimum, we have to designate the newspaper as the legal publication. The city of Riverton can always go above and beyond that and utilize social media venues, other digital forums, but as a baseline, it states that you shall, meaning there's no option, designate a legal newspaper.
Well, and the alternative is only if there isn't one that is in the county. Or the city, I suppose. Councilman Carr?
Thank you, Your Honor. While I emphasize with Mayor Warpness's position, it is definitely a legislative issue, unfortunately, and I would highly recommend moving in that direction.
I'd like to add an addendum. When we were trying to buy the 302 acres of ground north of Walmart, there was a state statute that said they couldn't sell it, period. Okay? Eli Bebout came in and helped us change that state statute so that ground could be put on the market if you had a buyer, okay, that was willing to make the first bid at the appraised value, and if that land was not being used to its highest and best use. Now, that came about as the result of changing a statute. There has to be a desire on somebody's part to change that statute, and at this point in time, there is not one. So,
Thank you, Mr. Warpness. Any other discussion on Resolution 1517? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Public hearing and consideration of retail liquor license transfer of location. Administrative Services Director's report, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Included in your packet this evening is the application for a transfer of location of a retail liquor license for Bridget and James Bunker, doing business as Bunk's Barbecue, currently located at 201 East Washington. The request is to transfer the license to 514 West Main Street. The license is currently for sale and is in a non-operational status. The transfer application was filed with the city clerk's office on December 17th. The appropriate fees have been paid and proper notice to the public has been advertised. The license, again, is currently non-operational, and we do have representatives from Bunk's Barbecue in the audience tonight, should you have any questions.
Thank you. I'd entertain a motion to open the public hearing regarding the retail liquor license transfer location.
So
So moved.
Motion by Councilwoman Borders. Councilman Larson, we call you a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. I declare the public hearing open. Hearing would be conducted in accordance with state statutes, other applicable laws. I'd ask individuals who'd like to speak concerning this matter to come up to the podium, identify yourself for the record, and also, if you can, keep your comments to approximately 5 minutes.
Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to take a moment and say thank you to Max and Mia and Kyle for all of the work that they did put in. Our building did go under contract with a quick sale, so luckily I was able to have the assistance that I needed and any questions answered within our city to get everything filed in adequate time. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I appreciate your hard work and good food.
Thank
I imagine we're still going to keep going with the food truck, yes?
We are keeping the food truck, but we are.
I'm not trying to pressure you, or
We're just going to return back to kind of our previous state where it was more of a on the weekends, special occasions, catering events and things like that. So we have a 4-year-old little girl at home, and restaurant and full-time lifestyle of that is not necessarily easy when you have an early bedtime.
Well, I appreciate it and
guys.
appreciate your food and your participation in the community in all the ways you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else to speak about resolution, or not the resolution, the proposed transfer of the location of the retail liquor license?
Your Honor, seeing no others, I would move we close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion to close the public hearing by Councilman Bailey, seconded by Councilman Larson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion passes. I declare the public hearing closed. I'd entertain a motion to approve the transfer of the location of a liquor license for Bridget and James Bunker for the remainder of the 4/1/2024 and 2/3/31/2025 liquor licensing term.
So moved.
Second.
Is that Councilman Carr? Okay, thank you. Councilman Carr with the motion. Councilwoman Borders with the second. Discussion. I think you were wanting to have a discussion item. Councilwoman Johnson.
I just had a question. So they currently already have the license, they're just asking them to transfer it to another location? Is that what I understand?
Yes. Actually, so state statute requires that a retail liquor license be active and that you actually reach certain sales requirements, if I'm understanding correctly. And so, but there is an option of parking it, which is to move it from active to inactive status. And where they're wanting to sell the liquor license, but not get in trouble, I guess, for not meeting the requirements for it to be an active license. It's going to be moved to non-operational inactive status.
So, Your Honor, I'm just wondering, so it's going to be parked at the Roasted Bean. Are they the ones that are going to be purchasing the license?
Ms. Harris?
Councilwoman Borders, not necessarily. When they transfer a license through the liquor division, they're required to state precisely where the license will be located or any alcohol that they should have. In an instance, it could be even if it's just located in a closet on the northwest corner of the building in a certain spot, that's acceptable to do that. And I don't know the terms of the sale. That's private information, but they are legally able to park it at that location until they do get it sold.
Okay, thank you.
And with the building being sold, they can't park it in somewhere else. I mean,
Right.
So
You have to have a designated address that it
Mm-hmm.
lives at.
Hangs, yes.
So they won't physically be serving out of the,
Right, and that's part of the point of it being in an inactive status. Did we cover that all right? Mrs. Bunker? Yes. Okay. I saw you stand up, but if you needed to add anything, you're welcome to, but
Well, I was going to clarify that no, the Roasted Bean is not buying the licenses. We have a few people interested in the process as well.
Thank you. And I guess for folks that might not have heard, just distance from the mic, had said the Roasted Bean is not buying the license, but has other people that are interested.
If I may, Mayor, on that, it's also a retail license, and we are allocated a certain number of retail liquor licenses by population. We're currently over-allocated, I believe, by 2 licenses, 3 licenses, 2 or 3. So if we lose this license, then it's gone. It's not to be issued ever again. In this instance, the Bunkers have reapplied for the new licensing term, the 25-26 licensing term. At the time that they finalize their sale with their buyer, then there will be another transfer coming to you to move the license out of their name and into the new buyer's name.
Which we have had things like that, and depending on who the new buyer is, of course, the public can come and speak about it, same as with this one. Okay, any other discussion? We cover it all? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. I vote aye. Motion passes. Wind River Transportation Authority Service Update, City Administrator's Report.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have with us several members of WRTA, and they would like to provide an update to you as City Council regarding their services and their plans moving forward. The Director, Tim Nichols, is here, and if it's okay with you, I think we should yield the floor to him to allow his presentation.
You can just keep walking forward here, Tim.
All right, let's see it. Here we go, light reading.
Thanks, Tim.
Do we have to, is there a test afterwards?
There is no way.
Is there a thumb drive for this thing?
Can you see that?
Not even with my trifold.
I know, I'm looking, I can't. That's probably what it is, I believe it.
Oh, no, these are good.
There we go.
Thank you, Mayor Hancock, members of the council. I joked with Cindy as she left that when you talk for as long as I do, they park you right at the end of the agenda. So I'll try and keep my comments brief, but as most of you know, they likely won't be. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with everyone this evening. First, I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to the newly seated members of this council. Your willingness to serve on Riverton speaks volumes about your commitment to our community. And I look forward to seeing the perspective and ideas that you'll bring to the challenges and opportunities ahead. For those I haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet, I'll save you what would otherwise be a very lengthy introduction. My name is Tim Nichols, and I'm the Director of Wind River Transportation Authority. My passion lies with public transportation. The opportunities that it creates and the stability that it provides and the life it will breathe into an economy. For those of you continuing your service and already know who I am, I commend you as well for your dedication in navigating the complexities of leadership. Your belief in the value of public transportation has been foundational to WRTA's ability to serve Fremont County thus far. It's your support that has allowed us to meet the growing demands and with resilience and the Wyoming grit. It is in the spirit of collaboration and shared responsibility that brings me here tonight, not to critique, but to advocate for solutions that strengthen our community. Over the past year, and in accordance with the agenda item as a service update, WRTA as a public entity has made extraordinary strides in improving public transportation in Fremont County, demonstrating our unwavering commitment to the community. In early 2024, we launched the Safe Ride program, offering on-demand late-night weekend service to the Lander and Riverton areas. Initially, Designed as an event-focused service, Safe Ride quickly grew into a lifeline to this community, providing safe and reliable transportation every Friday and Saturday evening. During the Land of Brew Fest, Safe Ride Transportation had a record-breaking 206 passengers, a testament to its immense value and the critical role it plays in ensuring this community's safety. By December, last month, the program had grown steadily, transporting 84 riders in that month, further proving its importance as a dependable resource for those who need it most. WRTA, a public local government-managed organization, then turned its focus to accessibility and connectivity, achieving the largest expansions of bus stops in its history. This expansion extended service to underserved areas, ensuring that more Fremont County residents have access to reliable public transportation. Each new stop represents a vital connection to jobs, education, healthcare, and community resources, and a tangible step toward reducing isolation and increasing equity. In July, we introduced the Yellow Line, a continuous service connecting Lander and Riverton every 2 hours. This level of frequency was unprecedented in WRTA history, proving a reliable transit option that became a bridge between two of Fremont County's largest communities. By offering consistent and predictable service, the Yellow Line opened doors to economic growth, educational opportunities, and healthcare access, embodying our mission to create transformative change through public transit. During the summer, we also launched the Rodeo Roundup, the first of its kind service offering Friday night transportation to and from Du Bois. This service not only provided safe travel for residents attending a cherished local event, but also demonstrated the role public transit plays and can play in community engagement and bringing people together. Beyond new programs, WRTA, a public entity, focused on enhancing the predictability and efficiency of its existing operations. We refined our fixed route schedules, ensured riders could count on us to be where they needed it when they needed it. These efforts were critical in building trust with the community and reinforcing the reliability of public transportation. Every service addition, refinement, over the past year has been driven by a single mission: to create opportunities, foster equity, and connect lives across Fremont County. But as we know, that momentum we built was short-lived when the renewal of the 0.5% tax failed. This critical funding source accounted for over 40% of WRTA's local match requirements, and its loss left us facing a staggering gap in our future budgets. Despite this setback, our team immediately pivoted to assess the financial risks and strategize how to best preserve essential services while maintaining fiscal responsibility. Unfortunately, by mid-December, it became clear that some difficult decisions were unavoidable. On January 6th, yesterday, WRTA, a public entity, implemented the painful decision to temporarily suspend the Yellow Line service, a service that we had celebrated just months earlier as a landmark achievement in regional connectivity. Additionally, we scaled back the frequency of our services and made the tough call to remove a single bus stop from our fixed route system. These were not decisions that were made lightly. They were deliberate actions taken to maximize the impact of our remaining resources while minimizing any disruption to our riders. WRTA is neither a for-profit nor nonprofit entity, but exists as a people-driven public service entity, ensuring that no one is left behind simply because they lack transportation. WRTA exists to provide equitable and affordable transportation solutions to the people of Fremont County. Services that private industry cannot deliver. The loss of the 0.5% sales tax funding has placed our public agency and the people we serve in a precarious position. But it has also reinforced the critical role that WRTA plays in the community. Recognizing the complexities of the challenges ahead, WRTA, a public entity, called for local and national support. And I was shocked to receive communication back from our National Association's executive director. Through an MOU, the Community Transportation Association of America, headquartered in Washington, D.C., has committed to assisting WRTA in navigating this critical period. Their assistance will focus on 3 key areas: identifying potential funding opportunities to stabilize operations and explore long-term funding solutions, exploring service redesign options to maximize the utilization of our existing resources, and develop a robust communication and stakeholder engagement strategy to connect both current and potential riders. Even with their extensive national experience assisting rural transit agencies, CTAA acknowledged the very hard truth, and that is that funding public transportation without subsidy is unrealistic. This reinforces what we've always known, and that WRTA, a public entity, exists not to generate revenue and profit, but to provide an essential service for the people of the community that it supports. CTAA's team, with an 80% success rate in supporting similar ballot initiatives, is also willing to assist in the reevaluation of a future funding initiative. Their guidance and expertise are invaluable as we chart our course forward. Nevertheless, behind these achievements stands a very dedicated team working tirelessly to make this all possible, some of whom are here tonight. Together, they handle an astounding workload. Over 19,000 hours of logistics scheduling are managed annually by a single operations manager and supported by a couple of part-time dispatchers, an equivalent of nearly a decade of full-time work compressed into a single year. They shoulder also the administrative demands required to maintain federal funding eligibility. Grant applications, compliance reporting, and audits, an extraordinary effort alone. They navigate the rigorous federal driver training requirements, which exceed what any local entity can claim compliance with. They tackle the challenges of federally required transit asset management plans, which in many cases have faced delays and are in critical need of attention. Over the past year, this team has worked tirelessly to rebuild and adapt and improve WRTA, a public transit and public entity, restoring connections for thousands of riders, reopened opportunities for businesses, and provided expanded access to healthcare, education, and employment. And yet, here I am, standing again, having to defend why public transportation is worth an investment. It's hard not to feel disheartened when I look at the staff that have joined me tonight, staff, mind you, who work without any access to basic benefit of health insurance. The riders who rely on us to connect them to life's essentials are in this as well. These are lives immeasurably improved by the services that WRTA provides, yet we are consistently forced to defend its value. Public transit is not just a service, it is an investment in economic growth, and proven by the packet I've provided all of you. Studies consistently show that every dollar invested in public transportation, approximately $4 are generated in economic returns. These returns come from an increase in access to jobs, education, and healthcare, as well as reduced transportation costs for families and individuals. Public transit supports local businesses by connecting workers to employment and consumers to retail and service locations, creating a ripple effect that strengthens local economies. In rural areas like Fremont County, the economic impact of public transportation is more pronounced. Reliable public transit reduces the financial burden of transportation, allowing families to reallocate income towards housing, education, and other essential needs. It also provides a critical connection for residents who would otherwise be unable to participate in the local economy. Whether it's a worker commuting to their job, a senior who has access to health care, or a student attending school, every bus route, every connection, and every ride is a step towards strengthening the fabric of a community. I want to be clear, WRTA's financial challenges are not the result of any inefficiencies or administrative mismanagement. They stem from a local funding model that has placed unrealistic expectations on a public entity. In 2019, regulatory changes permanently altered how WRTA is able to generate revenue, forcing the public agency to rely on the 0.5% sales tax as a Hail Mary to survive. When the tax failed to renew 2 months ago, it left a gaping hole in our future budgets, with a projected shortfall exceeding $324,000 by fiscal year 2027. It is incredibly important to rationalize in this moment that every dollar in federal grants that we cannot match is a dollar that will leave this community. Taxpayer dollars that were generated right here in Fremont County will be redirected to other systems who can match those funds. Systems such as START in Jackson, which continues to apply for Wyoming's full 5311 allotment. Without the necessary local match, Riverton loses out. Fremont County loses out. Not just WRTA, but the people and businesses who depend on it. To a community like Jackson, who can match those funds. The previous council's decision to allocate 100% of its discretionary 0.5% funding to the airport risks isolating essential services like WRTA and Fremont County's ambulance service as well. This approach forces critical services into competition rather than collaboration, creating gaps that cannot easily be filled and leaving residents without the comprehensive support they need. Ground transportation, air service, emergency medical services are not separate priorities. They are interdependent pillars of a thriving community. They must work together to ensure that no one is left behind. WRTA's total gap funding requirement to sustain operations through September of fiscal year 28 is $558,445.73. This funding will allow us to maintain essential services until long-term solutions can be arranged, whether through a renewed ballot initiative or another dedicated funding mechanism. To put this in perspective, if this amount were divided among the 3 largest of the entities in Fremont County, Riverton, Lander, and Fremont County themselves, it would equate to approximately $186,148 per entity. I am requesting that this council reconsider and allocate at least $186,148 toward the future of WRTA, a public organization, not for-profit, not nonprofit, but a public government-managed agency. And by doing so, you are only ensuring the continuity of public transportation, but also you are not only ensuring the continuity of public transportation, but also taking a deliberate step forward toward a collaborative solution that supports all essential services across Fremont County. The funding represents more than a financial commitment. It is a commitment to the people who rely on WRTA every day, to the businesses that depend on a connected workforce, and to the vision of a Riverton where opportunity is accessible to everyone. Investing in public transportation is not about choosing one service or the other. It's about recognizing that every service has a role to play in the success of the greater community. By reallocating a portion of these funds to WRTA, a public entity, the council has the opportunity to ensure that Riverton values equity, collaboration, and opportunity for all of its residents. Mayor and members of the council, this is a moment to lead with purpose and resolve. Public transportation is not simply a budget line, it's a lifeline. By investing in public transportation, you invest in a stronger, more connected, more inclusive Fremont County. The decision you make at your next meeting, potentially, maybe another one, will define the future for the residents who rely on WRTA, the businesses that we support, and the community that we all build together. With that, I'll thank you for the time, and we'll be happy to stand for any questions. And I think that's the quickest I might have actually stepped away from the microphone.
I think you did pretty good there, Mr. Nichols. Any questions?
I have a question for you.
Councilwoman Johnson?
Thank you. Would you need the full 186 to continue throughout 2025, fiscal year 2025? Or would a smaller amount with reduced services help?
Mayor, Councilwoman Johnson, the 186, 148 guarantees the level of service until the end of FY 27, I believe. I have outlined the runway for WRTA on the front of your packet there of when funding will run out. The last November failure of the 0.5% and when a potential new initiative could be reintroduced in the next November. You'll see outlined in red the months that are unallocated funding for. So to answer your question directly, it's not necessarily as easy as saying that a lesser amount would get us through FY25. It's looking at what services we have to provide and what level of funding we currently have at our disposal to sustain those through. We did sustain services for as long as we thought was fiscally responsible before we began reduction, to guarantee our runway to at least the next ballot initiative.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Your Honor.
Yes.
So how much of this 186,000 would go toward the match so you can get some of that federal money again for operations?
It would be 100%.
So you could get additional funds with the 186 that you're asking?
That's correct. Yeah. Without going into the full depth of transportation funding, we have to come up with a percentage, a varying percentage, depending on which grant we're accessing, whether it be our maintenance, our administrative, or our operating. Administrative and maintenance are matched at a 20%, while operating is matched at 44%. So we have to come up with 44% of the funds. We have to expend those funds first, and then we are reimbursed from the grant. So the full allotment of our grant for this fiscal year, which will likely continue and is very, very unlikely to grow, we would need that set amount of local match fund. I did average out the funds we are currently generating as revenue that is qualified as local match. So I did account for a portion of those local match funds coming from generated revenue, but then the remainder is left for 0.5% matching.
Mr. Bailey?
And you're saying you need that from us and Lander and the county
That is
to
correct.
make that all work, to get through till 2 years from now, basically.
That is correct.
Okay.
Do you think you have a good chance of getting it from the other two entities?
Mayor, thank you. I won't speak on behalf of either one of those entities. I do feel incredibly positive Lander will make a contribution. we were received very well at a similar request. We might have to wait a little bit for them to account for the full allotment and see which percentage we might get.
You've already spoken with them?
Already spoken. I will not speak on behalf of the county, but I think a lot of their decision might hinge on the other entity's decision-making.
Excellent.
You don't think they'll be first?
I do not.
Your Honor, I just want to tell you, Tim, I applaud everything that you do. I went to your open house.
You did.
I think it was in October.
It was.
And it's amazing what you do and what you've been able to do in Fremont County. There's a wide distance between places, and the fact that you can get people from A to B and then back home again is just amazing. So thank you, and thank you for the staff. I know you work hard.
They do.
Les, you should be a speechwriter. You're very good.
Yes.
So a little fun topic, and this was part of my lengthy introduction, if I might, Mayor, is I suffer from extreme ADHD, and if I don't write what I'm thinking down, it often gets, lost in the connection. However, as some of you are familiar, after 5 o'clock, I'm about useless. However, I'm in the back over there drinking an energy drink, so I'm in it for the long haul tonight. So, any questions? I should be able to fire off pretty quickly.
So you're ready to talk about this for another hour?
Yes, absolutely. You thought you were going to bed early. I don't think so.
Mr. Butterfield, you're not recommending an hour.
An opportune time for me to raise my finger, I see. Your Honor, if it's okay, as a staff member, would it be possible for me to pose a question of Mr. Nichols?
Go ahead, please.
And before I do, I mentioned this in the county commission meeting and in the Lander City Council meeting. We're very fortunate to have Mr. Nichols in our county.
Absolutely.
And I'm constantly impressed by the level of talent we have in Fremont County, and Mr. Nichols is one of those individuals that brings a lot to our county. So thank you. You do.
Thank you.
Now the question.
Oh, okay.
In your figures that you provided, the bridge total is $558,445,000. Dividing that by 3 is the 186 that you're requesting. And my question is that in addition to the 10% that would be allocated
Yes.
to the remaining?
Yeah. So this does account for the remaining allocation of the current fiscal year until an anticipated run out. So yeah, that does account for FY25's allocation.
Until May,
Correct. Thank you, Your Honor.
when we're estimating we'd be getting an approximate, between now and May, estimating about 300,000.
Your Honor, that's correct, and that number may be high. I know Ms. Harris was just looking at that figure, but she may want to update that on what she's doing. But give or take, based on what we saw in January, I think we can estimate roughly 300,000 in that 70% discretionary portion of the optional half percent.
We still haven't seen Black Friday yet.
Yes.
Your Honor, that's correct.
Discuss.
Not that I'm saying it's going to make much of a difference.
We haven't given it to them, we just said we were going to.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Bailey and then Mr. Carr.
Okay, so Tim, as you heard us earlier, we're going to bring this all up for discussion on the discretionary funds. And just speaking as myself, not the whole council, when I voted against giving the other EDGE applicants the money, my intent was so it didn't go to private industry, it went to public funds. So I inadvertently probably didn't mention you in that number, but my intention was the airport and transportation
Yeah.
are what I feel are the most important and the most economically, economic generators in our community. And all of those had good projects and they had lots of neat ideas and all that, but I don't think they return the kind of economic return that airport and transportation does. So, I think we'll have a thorough discussion about that here in a couple of weeks probably, so,
I second that.
yeah.
Is that a motion?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will say, just as a personal comment, having worked on many mass transit and public transportation projects throughout the Rocky Mountain West, every dollar that you spend on transportation and public transit whether it be whatever mode, multimodal, is a very fine investment. It always returns more than you put in, always. I've seen it firsthand. Thank you.
Mr. Nichols?
If I might follow up, Mayor, knowing that information now, how involved would you like to be? Because finding somebody with that level of experience is incredibly difficult in rural settings, not just Wyoming. So genuinely, finding somebody with extensive mass transit experience is valuable, even in applying it to a rural setting. If I might provide just a little bit more clarification, because I don't want to forget about it, the overemphasis on public entity and government managed organization. There is a wide misunderstanding that WRTA is somehow a private enterprise. And it became very apparent in a very divisive conversation that was posted on County 10 24 hours ago. So, in an overemphasis that we are in fact a public entity, I'd also like to provide some clarification on record to WRTA's response to public concern regarding the Walmart route change, if that's all right.
Please, go ahead.
So we, WRTA, understand the public's frustration over the removal of the Walmart stop from our fixed route services, and this decision was not made lightly. However, the stop averaged fewer than 10 riders per month, making it one of the lesser utilized in our network. Continuing to service this location required a disproportionate amount of time and resources that would and could be better utilized and allocated to reduce route length and consolidate staffing needs for the services that generate revenue or fulfill contract obligations. It is important to address this deeper issue. WRTA is operating under a significant financial constraint due to the failure of the half% tax initiative. There is no doubt about that. The public has expressed an unwillingness or an unwant to subsidize WRTA, leaving us no choice but to prioritize services that are financially sustainable. While there has been considerable outcry about the necessity in this adjustment, not a single community partner has yet to step forward to assist in the bridge of the funding gap, or provided resources necessary to maintain less utilized stops like Walmart. We share in the disappointment of these changes, but they are a result of an unavoidable reality. Without broader support from the community or its leaders, WRTA must make difficult decisions to ensure that we cannot continue to operate and serve must make difficult decisions to ensure that we can continue to operate and serve as many people as possible. We encourage our community partners, members, as well to join us in finding solutions rather than being offended by the outcomes of the financial situation that WRTA alone cannot resolve. We want to thank the community and your understanding for the support as we navigate these challenges together. There's one hidden nugget in there that I really want to specify, and as a public transportation professional, I really despise, is that in a situation such as this, we are forced to prioritize revenue generating over service to the public. And that is a difficult pill to swallow for somebody like me. So that's the hidden nugget in there, is that right now we are having to evaluate what our most valuable revenue generators are and prioritize that above service and actual public transportation.
Including, when it comes down to it, if you've got somebody who's going to be taking public transportation somewhere, you would think one of the most popular or more important, whether it's popular but is important, would be shopping.
Correct.
That makes it difficult. Councilman Bailey?
But I think, looking at it, you have to prioritize the stop that has 50 riders a month over the one that has 10.
Exactly.
So, I applaud you for making that kind of decision.
Yeah.
And hopefully, we'll get this all fixed.
Yep.
It'll come back, and you'll be able to stop everywhere you think you ought to.
Exactly.
But realistically, you're going to have to stop where the people are.
Right.
Because that's who's getting on the bus. If 10 people a month, that's one every 3 days.
Yeah.
That doesn't justify.
Nope.
At least not from a financial standpoint.
Well,
Exactly.
and I
From a
understand.
need standpoint.
Yes.
Well, but if there was a need, there'd be more people getting on the bus.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's your only way to gauge
Right.
what you're doing is correct or not correct, is how many people you have using your service, so.
Yeah. And one thing we're trying to, oh, my apologies.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think it's important that we separate, especially when we talk about public transportation, popularity of stops versus need of stops. Those 10 people may have really had a need to go to Walmart. What that is, I don't know. But I think that's an important thing to consider is, especially when we're talking about public transportation, need versus popularity of stops. Now, there is an economic reality to that.
Yes, there is.
And I agree with Councilman Bailey. You made the right decision, I think. But I just a good point to make.
Absolutely.
Anything else? Thank you for your report. Appreciate
you.
your hard work, Mr. Nichols. And I would echo what was said by Mr. Butterfield. Appreciate your service that you provide to the community through WRTA.
Thank you. A public transit entity.
Was it public or private? We can't remember.
We, about the 12th time you said that, I looked at Mr. Bailey and I was kind of like, he's going to say that every time.
There's a point being made.
Something's happening here.
Thank you. We do have a need for an executive session tonight. If we do have, if we could have a motion to reconvene into or to convene into executive session for the purpose
So
of
moved.
personnel.
Second.
Who made the motion? Motion by Councilman Carr, second by Councilman Bailey. This would be for the purpose of personnel pursuant to Wyoming statute 164405A2 or 164405A10. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. We are now back in the council chambers. I'd entertain a motion to reconvene into regular session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Borders, second by Councilman Carr. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. We're now reconvened at 9:54 PM.
I have one thing.
Yes, sir.
I was approached by the Leadership Fremont County group. They are having a meeting on the 16th in the morning and would like somebody to come and talk to them about city government. And I just went and spoke with them 2 weeks ago when they met in Lander about lobbying and all that kind of
Influence.
stuff. And so I could probably do it, but they probably would like to see a fresh face.
Do we have any fresh faces here?
Shave.
I just started this thing.
Okay.
What day?
And that's
what day
going
is
to
that?
be in Lander at the
In
CWC.
Riverton.
Oh,
No,
it's in Riverton.
It's in Riverton. We're going to have it at Speedway Cafe, and we're going to feed them lunch. But if somebody else would like to go speak to them,
What date was that?
16th.
16th.
January 16th.
I'm going to be out of town.
Well, and I spoke to him last year about the lobbying and influence.
right.
You can do a flip-flop this year.
That wasn't my point. I'm just saying it might be good for somebody else. I mean, I think it could be a
Yeah,
lot of
I
fun.
think it could be somebody else, and if somebody wants to tag team with me, I'll
I'm at
work
work,
with
or I
them.
would, because I mean, I teach government. I would
Yeah.
love to do that, but I'm working.
It's during the day, and that's kind
Yeah,
of
and
difficult.
I mean, yeah. and
We see where your
they're-
priorities
they-
are.
No, they're telling us we can't even take subs right now.
Okay.
So I can't, I mean, but I seriously would love to do that.
Are you intending on attending as
I-
well?
I am available, and I would attend, and I would be willing to help if somebody
wanna
wants
just
to
go
have
to-
the discussion.
You want to go together and do it?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Let me see where I got on this.
And they said we could sort of pick the time that fits us, and then they got somebody else they're gonna have speak that they'll put into their other time.
What time is it?
Lunch is at 11:30, so I would say like 10:30 maybe, or 9 probably would be okay, something like that.
I have FCAG.
Okay.
I can't.
Yeah, it's gonna be at the Speedway in our little conference. Want to come with?
That, I know, I would love it, but.
9 or 10:30? Want to do right before lunch and then we, okay, all right. I'll call them and
What did
tell them
they
we'll
do?
tag
That's
team it.
Great, what did they do?
Anything else for the good of the order?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn by Councilman Bailey, second by Councilman Carr. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. I vote aye. We are adjourned at 9:57 PM.